we're working to adjust the perspective. I feel like this is a bigger metaphor for everything else going on in life right now. Very apt. The perspectives that are available to you or not available to you are going to drastically either expand or reduce your perception of what's possible in your reality. Now, I'm going to share with you a few things. I'm going to share with you some of my personal things going on. We're going to get real fancy up in here. And just want to offer to you first an opportunity to deeply connect with yourself, especially when there's a lot of changes in the world going on, inner and outer. Please know that you're not alone. I invite you to check out the link in the description to the previous video where I offered a moment of genuine connection within yourself and to be able to tap into the interconnected fields that we are all a part of. I'm Danielle Lynn, and I meet awesome travelers such as yourself who are remembering their power in reality co-creation. And you really are that powerful. Now, you might look at the current set of reality and be like, I don't know if I contributed to this group project. Or maybe you quite like it. Who knows? What I'll simply say is, this reality is a accumulation of a series of choices beyond this present moment. In other words, it reflects a momentum point. And when we disown elements of this reality, in a certain way, we're disowning our own role and our own pattern in the process. I really want to invite you to listen to this with an open mind and an open heart. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but I am offering you a way to move beyond any feelings of victimization so that you can connect to your most empowered place in your life and in your world. You have a consequential vote in the direction that this world is heading, and I'm so glad that you have landed on this particular message because it comes at such a timely place at this juncture. When there's so much changing in and around us in the world, you have some key power here that, should you choose to deliberately apply it in your own life, will contribute to ripples of change across your reality and this reality as a whole. Now, although this sounds very grand, really what I'm about to share with you is rooted in everything that I have understood from both a practical nature of things like human psychology and marketing, but also what I have learned, studied, and experienced directly myself when it comes to the mechanics of this reality and interfacing with reality creation. So one of the first things that I'll bring up about this reality is that it's co-creative, meaning we're all creators of this reality. We're co-creating together. And when I say vote, I don't mean like writing it in a ballot. I mean, we vote consistently with how we focus our energy and attention every day. Your energy and attention is so powerful. It is your most powerful tool. It is your wizard wand. It is really what you have here. And there is so much that is spent and focused on in an attempt to guide your attention, to guide your feelings, to paint narratives, to tell you stories. And I'm not doing this to try and assign blame at anyone's foot, but just to bring to your awareness how powerful this thing that you already have is. Now, through a lot of things such as mindfulness, daily practice, etc., you can really cultivate your focus, your attention, and assist it in wielding it in ways in this world. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the world right now and how this relates to your focus. I'm going to invite you to a moment of nuance here. I'm going to invite you to understand that the concept of fixing on some level perpetuates the energy dynamic where there's something that needs to be fixed. It's not that you cannot take action, it's what is the nature of the way that I'm taking action? Am I taking inspired action that emerges from my heart, that is a knowing of the step to take? Or am I moving out of a reactionary, fear-based, pressure-based, I should do this, I have to do this pattern? Because then what's happening is you're perpetuating the old pattern. And there's no need to do that. In fact, the big part of this shift, there's a lot of ideas of what this awakening shift is about. It's really more practical in nature than you might imagine. A lot of the shift is shifting out of patterns that kept us individually and collectively in lower vibration frequency bands. Vibrations of right versus wrong, punitive judgment, us versus them. And the way that we shift beyond these is not through either bypassing or perpetuating. There's a third path, maybe even a fourth, maybe a fifth dimensional path. And all of these paths are found when we access the wisdom of our coherent heart. Like, am I pointing to the right places? Heart, gut, mind. It's not something you intellectualize. It's something you embody. And it can even feel like discipline or devotion at first, because you may come up with really intense feelings. You may rightfully feel rage, anger, fear, pain, grief. And it's not about suppressing any of these feelings. It's about remembering how to effectively and healthily be with them, feel them, reconcile them, come to your center, and make a responding choice, a choice of response from the heart. Because this is what it is to break a pattern. This is what it is to actually embody a higher dimensional frequency. It often looks very normal, and it often looks like over and over and over again, making the choice that is anchored in the kind of patterning that you want to perpetuate, both in your own life, but also contributing to a higher form. What I'm pointing out, and this might be uncomfortable for some to hear, but I'm going to say it because it's how I'm seeing what when you're just reading what's going on. A lot of this is a contribution through sometimes people collapsing or taking inaction. Sometimes it's through people not choosing to utilize their will or their voice, or to say yes when they mean no. And it's not that your one time doing that made this happen. It's more like a cumulative effort that occurs not even just through this life, but across many different instances. The beautiful thing is, in a similar way, there's also a cumulative effort, if you want to call it that, that is connected to living and embodying a deeper harmonic. And when you understand that things are happening through cumulative harmonics, you see how powerful you are, not just as an individual, but when you start to focus with groups, with communities, with partners, with other people, it has this additional, multiplying, exponential kind of effect. But it's not about beating something, because even that carries within it this seed of pushing. It's more like when we engage in this with full embodiment, full knowing, without insistence on being right, but rather just a presence of knowing that this is what is, there is a quiet yet almost indomitable power. I think of the power of a mountain. I think of the power of a waterfall. I think of the power of a volcano. It doesn't go around and have to be like, you guys, watch out, I'm powerful. It just is. It just is of itself. And it does what it does. And there is this kind of power that exists already within you, within me. And it's part of what is inviting us to connect on videos like this, to be aware of our core selves, not to just shrug our shoulders and be like, well, I guess that's that. Lots of, momentum. What am I going to do? It's not about trying to say, well, you got to fight, or you got to fix, you got to do this. It's about when I am operating from the core frequency that I am ready to help contribute in perpetuation to this world, what is that frequency and what step do I take? Now, I'm offering it as a question, but this is more of like an inner attunement. This is something that you check with within yourself. You give yourself enough nervous system work, grounding, presence. Do enough daily practice to give yourself enough inner and outer space, a break from your mental chatter, a break from your fears, worries, and concerns, enough so you can hear the still small inner voice that is giving you the answers. It is giving you the answers. I got really excited. I was like, because it is. Like, I love sharing with you reflections and I love doing this synchronicity thing, but this isn't set up so that you're reliant on good old Danielle, Forest Lady, Fern person to tell you what to do or what's going on. That's not the intention of any of this. The intention is a synchronistic remembering game that amplifies and enhances your ability to also remember and empowerment so we can co-create awesome things. And first off, you do indeed got this. You got this. You got the framework within you to connect to exactly what you need to connect with. You have the ability to make new choices, to look beyond the stories of fear and of worry and of concern and all these other things. You have the ability to make new choices in your reality and to connect with people, communities, and experiences that are going to genuinely be of assistance to you. I co-created the lab, the Self-Alchemy Lab, as one of the ways that people could come together and experiment and remember. And there are many places and opportunities, whether you want to join something like this or whether you want to start something, join another group, create a local group. Like, there are so many options. There are so many options. And I'm not saying that you must break out of your solitude. I am inviting you, however, to check what kind of connection would inspire you. Sometimes for us, it only takes one other. Sometimes that connection is a deliberate connection with nature or with animals. Like, it doesn't have to always be specifically a human connection, but we, either way, are built on forms of connection. So perhaps this is a call to understand what form of connection you're feeling called to express in, and then to invite yourself to the iterative steps to live it and express it. What else wants to be said? I'm feeling very saucy today, mostly because I'm about to do some very deliberate communing work with a spot in nature that I had been envisioning and intending for a while. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you about it in all the resonant ways. Now, as this relates to your personal life, something I'd like to share with you, and I'd like to share with you a little bit of my own personal life, because I believe part of my own role in connecting with you, creating these videos and co-creating these messages is to really share glimpses of the journey as it's happening. In the more recent months, I have felt in my own life more low than I have been previously. And so I did a lot of experiences to see what was up. What I found for myself so far is, one, we're having a collective energy shift. So, you know, if you're noticing it's more cold than usual in the winter, well, that's a part of it. But two, I realized I was feeling a lot of personal grief for things that I could both voice and not voice that were falling away. Maybe you have felt grief too. Maybe you have felt certain places of anger or sadness or challenge, and maybe some of them you've had a story that goes with it, but maybe some of it has just been a feeling you've experienced. And I just wanted to reflect to you that you're not alone and that it's not a failing to feel these ways. And this is one of the reasons why I have put more emphasis in recent times on things like nervous system recalibration. I am engaging in more nervous system recalibration because there are things that we are shedding collectively and individually that are falling away as old systems, energy and external, are shifting, morphing, and collapsing. And we sometimes discover places we were leaning or resting that we didn't even know we didn't know. So the first message is be kind to yourself and understand that even when I am in a deliberate practice, I'm still feeling things too. So it's okay. The second thing that I'll share is through this practice of introspection, I really invited myself to recalibrate for what was a sustainable yes way to walk through this time. I am clearing my energetic space so that I can work specifically with projects and people that have momentum already in motion to amplify them in mutual harmony towards many of the things we talk about. And some of these projects may be quite practical in nature. Some of them may be wild in nature. We'll find out. And so there's an element of the unknown in this shift. But I sat with it with my heart, and it came forward as a yes. In a lot of ways, I'm sharing with you my version of a leap into an unknown and making a choice from congruency. I share this with you because I invite you to check your own life for things, patterns that are awesome, that might be ready for a reevaluation, a renegotiation of allocation of energy, or just a different way of approaching it. And so part of what I've decided to do is make my energy more available to these new projects and these experiences coming up. So I'm going to be experimenting with my posting schedule on YouTube here. I'm going to allow myself at least one post a week. This is what I'm focusing on, and seeing what we create with that. Part of my focus will be to come into the communities that I host with some more clear intention along these directions. And if you'd like to explore that, an interface with me, I would invite you to check my description link. I have the links to my awesome communities. And I simply say, in all the ways, thank you for being. I'm really grateful we connect. And I'm really looking forward to what we all choose to create and co-create from here.